Luca stood in the middle of the forest clearing, staring at the circle he had drawn in the dirt. His hands shook and his mind raced. The old man, Oren, had disappeared. There was no note, no explanation, nothing but the haunting silence of the trees. Luca wasn't ready. He hadn't learned enough. How could Oren abandon him now, when he needed him the most? He dropped to his knees, his heart pounding in his chest. The secrets, the teachings, they all seemed too simple. Was it all some cruel trick? Was he meant to figure it all out on his own? Luca had come here with nothing, desperate for answers. But now, with the old man gone, he felt as lost as ever. It hadn't always been like this. Luca's journey had begun many months earlier, when he arrived at Oren's home, exhausted and defeated. He was a young man, eager to succeed, but everything he did seemed to lead to failure. The world moved too fast, and he couldn't keep up. The more he worked, the more things slipped from his grasp. "I've tried everything," Luca had said, his voice filled with frustration. "I work day and night, but nothing seems to work. The world is changing too quickly." Oren, the old man with a long, white beard and eyes that seemed to know more than he ever spoke, listened in silence. He nodded slowly, as if he had heard this story 1,000 times before. "You've come to the right place, Luca. But to find what you're looking for, you must first unlearn what you think you know. Are you ready for that?" Desperate, Luca agreed. But even then, he hadn't truly understood what Oren meant. The next morning, Oren led Luca deep into the forest, far from the village. The air was fresh and cool, the trees tall and ancient. There were no distractions here. No buzzing phones, no rushing cars, only the peaceful sounds of nature. Oren handed Luca a stick and pointed to the ground. "Draw a circle," he said. Luca frowned, but he did as he was told, drawing a rough circle in the dirt. The old man smiled. "That circle is your life, Luca. Notice how simple it is, how complete." Luca stared at the circle, waiting for more. But Oren said nothing else, only watched him with those knowing eyes. "That's it?" Luca asked, feeling a surge of frustration. He had come here for answers, not to draw circles in the dirt. Oren didn't reply. He simply began walking away, leaving Luca alone with the circle and his thoughts. Over the next few days, Oren's teachings grew stranger. He didn't give Luca the clear, easy answers he was hoping for. Instead, each lesson was a puzzle, a mystery wrapped in simplicity. It was frustrating at first, but something about the old man's calm confidence made Luca stay. The first secret, silence. One night, as the two sat by a crackling fire, Oren spoke softly. "The world today is filled with noise, Luca. Everyone talks, but no one listens. The ancients knew the power of silence. In silence, you hear the truth. In silence, you understand yourself." Oren instructed Luca to sit in silence for hours, watching the flames and the stars above. At first, Luca's mind raced with all the things he needed to do, all the things he hadn't done. But slowly, the noise in his head quieted. He felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace, clarity. He began to understand what Oren meant. The world was full of distractions, but in the silence, the answers came. The second secret, focus. A few days later, Oren handed Luca a small, smooth stone. "Carry this with you all day," Oren said, "and do not let it drop." Luca, confused but willing, did as he was told. At first, it seemed easy. It was just a stone. But as the day wore on, distractions pulled at him. He wanted to check his phone, to talk to others, to do anything but think about the stone in his hand. Each time he lost focus, the stone slipped from his grasp. That evening, Oren asked him, "How many times did you drop it?" "Too many to count," Luca admitted, frustrated with himself. Oren nodded. In life, we chase too many things at once. When your focus is scattered, you lose everything. But if you can hold on to what's important and let go of the rest, you will find success. Slowly, Luca began to understand. The world demanded more and more of his attention, but the true power lay in focusing on what truly mattered. The third secret, purpose. One afternoon, Oren led Luca to the edge of a river, where a great tree stood, its roots twisting deep into the earth, its branches stretching high into the sky. "This tree has lived for hundreds of years," Oren said. "Do you know why?" Luca shook his head, staring up at the tree's towering presence. "Because its roots are deep," Oren explained. "It knows its purpose, to grow, to stand tall, to give life." The ancients understood that without a purpose, life is shallow, easily swayed by the storms of the world. Luca thought about his own life. He had been running, chasing success, money, and approval, but he had no deep purpose. His roots were shallow, and that was why he constantly felt lost and directionless. Weeks turned into months. Luca learned to appreciate the lessons, even if they didn't always make sense right away. He began to change. He no longer chased every opportunity or listened to the constant noise of the world. He focused on what mattered, and slowly, his life began to shift. But then, one morning, Luca woke up to find Oren gone. No goodbye, no final lesson. Luca's heart pounded in his chest. He wasn't ready. He didn't know enough. The old man had left him too soon. How could he master life without Oren's guidance? He fell to his knees in the clearing, staring at the circle in the dirt. The wind whispered through the trees, but the silence was overwhelming. Luca's mind raced. Everything Oren had taught him suddenly seemed distant, unreachable. He felt lost again, like the day he had first arrived. But then, in the quiet, something clicked. He remembered Oren's words. "In silence, you find the truth." Luca closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He realized that the lessons weren't just teachings. They were already within him. He didn't need more guidance. He needed to trust in what he had learned. Slowly, he stood up, his heart calm and steady. Luca returned to the village, different from the man he once was. He no longer chased everything at once. He spoke less, listened more, and lived with purpose. And as the world around him grew louder, faster, and more chaotic, Luca remained rooted, knowing he had mastered the lost secrets of the ancients. Please like and subscribe and share for more insightful stories in stock just for you. Let's grow together. Thank you.